So you'd like to share and perhaps explore a moment of, a personal insight experience on why do men and women have such difficulty in making love? Is that how you'd like to frame it?
Yes.
Hmm. So what in your experience is, why is there so much difficulty?
I feel that initially there is a longing for each other's needs to be met.
Hmm.
But love making calls for that to drop very quickly.
Hmm.
And then it gets trickier because then the armor that we are used to having around
Hmm.
are called to be dropped.
So what would you say is, what are these some of the examples of armor? You say that it is called to be dropped. What is the...
For instance, very often for a woman it can be about self-image.
Hmm.
Now it is totally her responsibility.
Hmm.
She could be in front of any man
Hmm.
and the same will arise.
Hmm.
But she doesn't want to let that go. She doesn't want to drop and feel her own vulnerabilities. So the woman will then try to please the man
Hmm.
as quickly as possible,
Hmm.
as well as possible,
Hmm.
so that the man feels good
Hmm.
about himself, about her.
Hmm.
And then it's over and she hasn't had to feel opened.
Hmm. Is it also possible that perhaps after the first rush of excitement,
Mm-hmm.
which is perhaps at a very kind of unconscious body level,
Yeah. Hormonal.
hormonal level,
Yeah.
and it's just like an initial connection, after that there is not much charge left, that both men and women, and men in particular in my experience,
Mm-hmm.
really don't know what to do. I mean, the armory is one aspect, but also maybe people, men and women, just don't know what to do.
Is it because, I'm asking you as a man,
Yeah.
the man's way is to seek the most direct way
Hmm.
to somewhere,
Hmm.
to an outcome.
Hmm.
It's almost like seeking the user manual to follow.
Hmm.
And because there is no user manual in making love to a woman,
Hmm.
it changes with every woman. So you
Yes.
might as well throw it away,
I know.
the concept of it.
Yes.
So is it that you feel a bit lost when you expect to follow a certain way, and that way that might have worked or triggered some things with one woman, suddenly you're with another woman and it doesn't work anymore and you feel lost? Is there something around that?
Well, I think you asked a very good question, and perhaps that is the second stage of the frustration. But there's a first stage, which most people don't cross, and that's why they get stuck. And I feel men, if you look at, you know, young boys as they grow up,
Yeah.
as they learn the although I'm calling it the art of masturbation,
Mm-hmm.
not many really know how to do it properly. So there's a kind of a jerky, short-term, fast-paced uh, engagement, essentially for a quick release. And their experience of reaching that state of bliss is through jerky, fast-paced, hurried.
Which eventually becomes desensitizing for the lingam.
Yes, and in the experience of being with a woman, that is their that is the neural network that is in their brain that has been formed. And so they're kind of in that state of actually wanting to recreate that same experience of masturbation, but this time with a woman.
Yeah.
And that's the first stage of the engagement, and most men remain there. And that's why pornography is such a big deal, because it focuses on the last few minutes and that's it.
Mm.
When some men who recognize that and slow down that aspect, then they don't know what to do after that. Now, if they don't know what to do, but they are with one woman and they somehow manage to have a little bit of tango going, then as you said, every woman is different. So with some other woman, when they come across, what has worked with one woman doesn't work with the other. Then they are even more lost. So as I said, it varies. But I would say the first stage is perhaps in my experience, the biggest cause for men not really being able to reach out to a woman, because they are in their own kind of robotic, kind of wired state. Does that resonate with you? Has that been your experience?
Well, I think as a teenager, when you do masturbate, you also tend to go at it quickly because often there is a fear of being caught in the act.
Yes, very much, very much. Will you do it in the bathroom or
Yes.
yeah,
So,
or in the attic?
or somebody opening an unlocked door and finding you at it. So,
And being ridiculed,
yeah.
shamed.
So there's a sense of it has to be quick.
Yes.
And that is what desensitizes the body, as well as seeking the result.
Yes.
More a result that becomes more and more intense
Yes.
every time.
Yes.
So when that lovemaking is the only lovemaking that
And we wouldn't even call it lovemaking.
let's
It's kind
call
of
it
just
shagging.
or just a release.
Yeah.
It's just like a release.
I call it friction lovemaking.
Friction lovemaking. Oh, so you're being very polite still.
Yes.
Friction lovemaking.
Mechanical frictional lovemaking.
Mechanical friction lovemaking. Okay, I like the fact that you're kind of tagged it at the end. It is still lovemaking.
Yeah. Because you could also call it mutual masturbation.
Yeah, I like that. Is more like it. There was there's some people I have known who I have worked with, and they shared that their experience was much like this. It was a mechanical masturbation, where the husband came in late from work or from his travels, and he changed post dinner, and then they were in bed, and really there was no kind of slow journeys or a walk towards meeting, but just a hurried, quick release, and in about 10 minutes, 12 minutes, it was all over, and the lights were off,
Yeah.
and there was good night and back to bed, and that's it. So you're right. That was.
But then there comes a moment I believe there comes a moment in a couple's journey where the the heart wants to get more connected with the genitals,
Yes.
and it's the heart that wants to slow everything down so that it can feel more.
And who, in your experience, is the leads in that? Is it the woman?
Not necessarily.
Ah, not necessarily, huh?
Some women are actually very much in their inner masculine. So let's say in the couple, it can be the one that has the most inner feminine open to that exploration, that curiosity. And then that's where the invitation is to go and explore something different. And then in that stage, that's where the armors that I referred to at the beginning have to drop, because it seeks, that kind of lovemaking seeks authenticity, genuine connection, and that comes with giving ourselves time to feel everything, including if what is felt is pain. Sometimes, our genitals can hold very deep old wounds,
Yes, of course, of course.
or sometimes it can be
For both men and women.
absolutely. Sometimes it can be just a very deep cry that comes from the depth
Yeah,
of our own being.
very much.
And sometimes it's just a very pure, immense bliss.
Yes.
But you can't plan it ahead. You can only be open to it.
Yes. And of course, being open to it without any work done is a recipe for a lot of fear arising in that moment. And so, of course, you just a while ago you spoke about how there are lots of wounds that men and women have around their genitals, located in their genitals, or in the area around the genitals. Now, one facet of to be worked on or to be looked at is that both men and women have to do separate work on themselves. But if we were to just step back and look at this aspect of this horrid mechanical masturbation or mechanical lovemaking, and the transition from that into a place where, and we began this conversation where you said one of the things you'd like to share and explore is why do men and women find it so difficult to really make love? Why is it such a complicated issue? And then one aspect we explored at the beginning was that it's kind of hurried. Then we also spoke about the fact that there are various levels of armor that men and women carry that they find it difficult to drop, and as a result, they perhaps end up suffering and pleasing the other, but suffering inside. So, to simplify it, what, in your experience, can a woman do? And then what in your experience can a man do? And I'll share what I have seen and experienced.
In my experience, a woman can tell her man that make him feel how she is willing to open to him. Make him feel how much her love is driving her to share that intimacy deeply with him. And then explain that whichever way she reacts is her genuine way of being vulnerable, being open to the unknown, and asking him to still hold that when it happens so that he doesn't take it personally.
Mm-hmm.
There is a sharing, but if things arise that awake those wounds, just for him to just stay present,
Mm.
because they are there to be felt and to be healed.
Mm.
And once they are healed, the mystery of blissful lovemaking unfolds further.
Mm.
But it's often a necessary stage,
Mm.
and it's a stage where there is nothing to solve for the man.
Mm.
There is nothing for him to be any different than what he is. He just has to hold the space for her
Mm.
to go through that.
Mm.
And I believe the woman, when she feels held and safe and loved, has that capacity to go through that deep healing that's required to open up more fully.
Mm. Beautiful.
What about from the man's perspective?
From a man's perspective, for what a man can do himself or practice himself, there are some very simple things he can do before. First, I feel is that men really don't admire their genitals or even truly know how it really looks. So to make it, just to bring a little bit of comic humor into this, maybe a man should buy a little mirror and keep it in front and look at his genitals. He should look at his penis, he should look at his scrotum, he should look at how does it look.
I thought men did that all the time.
They do it, but they do it in the they do it, but they do it more from the perspective of showmanship. Like
Yeah.
they're kind of preening themselves as a prized horse.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a place for it, but too early on, and you kind of miss the point. Then you're kind of just in your own head. If you just admire yourself as a prized horse, but to just notice how their genitals look, and likewise also maybe men should just look at a woman's genitals without really doing anything. There's a certain beauty about looking at a woman's genitalia. Most men don't do that. I mean, they look at the eyes, they look at the hair, they'll have a little bit of conversation, and they'll see the genital space as something that has to be touched by their own genitals or by their hands. But perhaps a conscious eye gaze has the ability to slow down, and actually, a conscious eye gaze eventually exhausts all outward journeys, and then begins perhaps the slowing down of their engagement with the woman. The other thing that in my experience, that works is for actually men to relearn the art of masturbation. Now, that may sound a bit ridiculous. That is, why should a 45-year-old man relearn the art of masturbation? And he's been doing it for so long. But actually, to do it differently.
That's what I call then not masturbating anymore, but self-pleasuring.
Ah, beautiful word, actually. That's a very, very key thing to include here, which is it's to move from masturbation to self-pleasure. And perhaps that's is at the heart of it, which is looking at yourself in the mirror and looking at your genitals and admiring it before getting into the act of touching it in a way that allows pleasure. Even the aspect of looking and appreciating is a step towards pleasuring yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say men should really discover the art of self-pleasure first. Now, how they do that, they should just start experimenting.
Yeah. Not being goal oriented.
Yeah. Yeah. And not being kind of, focused on a particular part of the body, but just the whole body, their own whole body, isn't it?
I think naturally, sexual energy, once you engage with it with the breath,
Yeah.
wants to move through the body.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to be contained to the genital area,
Yeah.
where the pressure builds quickly.
Mm.
It wants to rise and awaken other energy centers in the body.
Mm-hmm.
So by allowing that, by learning how for each person how that feels, that is a beautiful journey of discovery for both men and women.
Beautiful.